Hello. I am in search of a good keto donut. Um, I can get them from a local bakery that I have near my home, except they don't always have the kind that I like, which is cinnamon crunch. And they're $15 for four of them, which is just a lot. So it might be something that I get for myself sometimes, but not very often. So I want to try and be able to like make some of my own at home. So I have three different recipes that I'm going to try today. I'm going to be trying one. Um, I'll let you know when I try the other ones. This one I got from the Twins YouTube channel. So I'll post a link to their channel in the description. And they got it from someone else. But theirs are just chocolate. So they just made chocolate glazed chocolate donuts with a glaze. But I want to try to take the recipe and break it down and still make I'm only going to make 6 donuts is my plan. But make two of them a plain donut because that's my favorite kind of donut. That has been my favorite kind of donut since I was a little kid. I love plain cake donuts. So I want to try to make two plain donuts, two chocolate donuts. So basically using the recipe that the Keto Twins used. But it'll be a smaller portion. And then I want to try and make two blueberry donuts with some frozen blueberries that I have in my freezer. So let's see how it turns out. All right, so you're just supposed to take all of the ingredients and blend them together in a blender until smooth. So um, that's what I would do if, like, I would add like the chocolate in for my chocolate donuts, which is what their recipe called for. But I'm not going to do that. But everything else, I'm just going to add to my blender. So I need 1 cup of cottage cheese, and I should have grabbed these first. All right, so here's my cottage cheese. Now they used a 4% fat cottage cheese, so that's what I'm going to use. I don't know if it would have some kind of effect if I used, say, like 2%. I'm not sure how that would, um, what that would do to the recipe. But they said that theirs turned out really good, so I don't want to kind of mess it up. I do that a lot where I change people's recipes, and I guess I am changing this one, but where I change people's recipes and then I don't like them, and I'm like, well, maybe I should have just done it the way that they did. Okay, so there's my 1 cup of cottage cheese. And then I need 1/2 cup of a sweetener. So I can't remember what they used. I think they used I think they used allulose, which I might have. Okay, I do have allulose. So I'm going to use a 1/2 cup of that. Okay. Then I need 2 eggs. I need 3/4 of a cup of almond flour. So there's 1, 2, and 3. 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. So I'm going to find my 1/2 teaspoon measuring spoon. And I'll use that 3 times. Maybe. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then I need a teaspoon of baking powder. Well, I need a lid. Huh. There we go. And blend. I can see that I need to scrape down my sides a bit, so I'm gonna do that. And then blend some more. Okay, that looks really smooth. That looks nice. All right, so then I'm going to try to pour out 2 donuts. These will be my plain donuts. I don't know. All right, I'm just going to do it. I'm a little worried because their recipe calls for cocoa powder, which would then thicken up the batter. This seems thinner than their batter, but maybe not. I'll just go with it and then we'll just see what happens. I did learn from them that I don't want to fill my cups too full. I think this one might still need just a little bit more. But they filled some of them too full and they ended up with donuts that were like they didn't have holes and stuff because they just it just baked over the top. Okay, so now I'm going to clean this up just a little bit so it's not making a mess. I'm going to try to pour out enough for 2 donuts. Where did that go? Oh, here it is. Into this little blender. And then one of these will hold my chocolate and then one of them will hold my blueberry. So I think if I pour about half, that should be right. I'm supposed to be able to make 6 donuts with this, but I feel like it might be more. Okay. So their recipe called for 8 teaspoons of cocoa powder. I'm going to use Hershey's Special Dark Cocoa Powder, but I'm only using it for a third of the batter. So if I divide that by 3, I get 2 teaspoons plus a little bit more. So I'm just going to go with like 2 1/4, I think, teaspoons. Maybe 2 1/2. 2 1/2 is going to be a little closer. I'll go with 2 1/2. So there's 1. There's 2. And about a half. Okay. And then to my other one, I'm going to add my frozen blueberries. So I'm not exactly sure how many I want to add. I feel like maybe like 4 berries would be good. Okay, well there's 6 berries. And I'll just blend it and then I'll see if I feel like it needs a little more. All right, so I'll start with that one. Okay, that's what it looks like. I will actually, I think I will blend my other one first and then pour them out at the same time. All right. Yeah, this chocolate one is a bit thicker than that vanilla, so that vanilla might not quite turn out right. Like maybe if I added a bit of xanthan gum or something to it to help thicken it, that might be good. Okay, so it looks like I'm gonna get more than 6 donuts. Okay, and then I'll try my blueberry, which this is pretty liquidy. Probably from the liquid of my blueberries. And I don't, I did not measure this out really well. I don't think this is going to make 2 donuts. I think I'm going to add some xanthan gum actually to this one because it really is pretty thin. Let's see. Try a 1/4 teaspoon. And when you do this, you should really like allow the xanthan gum to kind of absorb for a minute before you like do anything with it. So I'm going to get it blended in and then I will let it sit for like 5 minutes before I pour it into my pan. I have made a very large mess here out of my sink area. Okay. That might have been too much xanthan gum. Maybe like a 1/4 teaspoon. Didn't I use a 1/4 teaspoon? I don't remember what I used now. But this is pretty thick. Although it is closer to the consistency of um, like the original with the chocolate in it. So it might work out good. I guess I can get 2 donuts from here. I am going to get these in my oven. So it's at 320 degrees and you bake them for 20 minutes. All right, it's been 20 minutes and I can see like my plain donut is kind of like getting browned. Actually, all of them are getting a little browned. All right, so I'm going to turn this off. I learned from the Keto twins that I do not want to remove this from the pan right away. They will kind of just fall apart. So I'm going to allow them to just cool in the pan here for at least 10 minutes before I take them out. And while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to make a glaze. The Keto twins used powdered swerve for their glaze. I'm going to use my Wholesome Yum Alios and monk fruit blend because I like the flavor of it better, especially in the raw. So I'm going to get a 1/2 cup of that. And then I need 1 1/2 teaspoons of heavy cream. And I do have some ideas of like making different glazes, but I'm just going to start with this one. So there's 1/2, 2/2, 3/2. And then you're supposed to just add water about a teaspoon at a time until it gets to your desired consistency. And actually, I should really be using a whisk for this task. I'm going to kind of get rid of those lumps as best I can. And this is actually looking pretty good. It's a little thin. It's not normally what like I would have for like the frosting on a donut. And I think theirs was a little thicker, but I really feel like I just want to glaze over my donuts. So I think I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay, so I've got my donuts here. I have found that they are kind of like sticking in the pan. So I'm trying to kind of gently release them. Using my rubber scraper. I still don't know if they'll come out. Let's see. No. Okay. I'm going to have to do some more work to get them out of my pan, which then might ruin them. It seems maybe I should have used like some nonstick spray or, maybe like a coating of coconut oil, something like that. These feel a little wet, but they're not completely dry, so I will allow them to completely dry. My plan is not even to eat one tonight. I'm going to eat them in the morning. That's when I'll test them and allow them to sit overnight see, I kind of just destroyed it. Sit overnight in the refrigerator. All right, let's see if our chocolate is any better. And it doesn't seem like it. It seems like it's a very similar kind of wet consistency. So I guess they'll be really moist. Okay. And then, oh, these are better. Or this one anyway. It's definitely not as moist. But they're not very big. Like they're not very thick. And I don't know if it seemed like the ones that the Keto twins made were thicker than this. So I'm not sure. But this one is definitely like really moist and this one's pretty moist. And this one is it seems like more close to the consistency that you would want in a donut. Okay, so I'm going to get some glaze on these. And I actually have more batter here. I think I'll make the rest of these chocolate donuts and maybe try to fill the holes just a little bit more. Actually, I don't think I want to glaze on my plain donuts. I think I want to leave those plain. Okay, so I'm going to bake up these other chocolate donuts and I will grease the pan. Okay, so I did fill these a little fuller. They did take an extra minute to 2 minutes to get cooked all the way through. I added a layer of coconut oil. Actually, I wonder if I can just do this. Of coconut oil to the pan to grease it. And one came out. Okay. That doesn't look too bad. But not the other ones. That's the one that I actually loosened. So, all right, let's try loosening all of them. And that one looks a lot better than the last ones that I made. So maybe I need to just like fill the pan a little further to kind of get them more donut-y. This one looks a lot better than that one. And the other two still just did not come out. So I will have to get them out. But they look better. Now, these are the ones. So I actually didn't put a layer of coconut oil in this one here. I realized it afterwards that I hadn't done that. So the ones that have the coconut oil in them actually like look better and look more like a donut. But as far as size, like this is much better. So I think if I had just filled it a little fuller, then it would be better because this size is much better than what I have with the other ones. So this is the size that I have of the other ones. And this is the thickness of these. So these do look a lot better. My husband took a bite. He said that it was pretty good. Not something he thinks he could eat like a whole donut of, but that it was pretty good. So that's something, I guess. I'm not going to try mine until tomorrow. So I'm going to get some of my, which I've got left over, some of my glaze on these and let them cool completely because they're not cooled completely. And then I will get them in the refrigerator and I'll be back tomorrow with my opinion of how they taste. I let my donuts sit overnight in my refrigerator and now I am ready to try them. So I'm going to start with my plain donut, which again, it just kind of looks, it's so thin and looks kind of sad, but we'll see how it tastes. It does feel pretty moist. Wow, that's interesting. Um, it ta- it actually tastes like a Twinkie, like the cake of a Twinkie. That is, I mean, it's kind of amazing that it tastes like that. Or it tastes like the cake of a Twinkie. It doesn't fill my need for like a plain donut. But like I could totally see making like some filling, right? And having this. That's very, very interesting. Um, it is moist like that. I think that's going to be kind of our problem with all of it. Okay, so now I'm going to try, actually, I think I'm going to try the chocolate one next. Because the blueberry was another one that I really wanted to try, and I feel like I just want to end with that one. So this is one that I made with my second batch, so it is like it's not quite as sad looking. It looks more like a donut. And it's moist too, but I feel like it's less moist than the plain donut. Yeah, that's okay. Um, it has a nice strong chocolate flavor to it. It, yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty good. Like I could see that being a substitute for a cake chocolate donut, which isn't really my favorite. I'm not a huge fan of chocolate. So like I would for me, I wouldn't plan to make these again with chocolate. I just wanted to try them with like that original recipe that is a chocolate recipe. Okay, so I'm going to now try the blueberry, which again, these are really, really moist. Like actually, I think these are even moister than the plain ones. There we go. Which I mean makes sense because I did put blueberries in there, but I also added the xanthan gum, so I'm not really sure. Mm. I think they might be underdone. I think that might be part of why they're like kind of almost gooey. Um, mm, I don't really like those. I think the flavor of the dough is kind of overpowering the flavor of the um, blueberries, and it's not good, which seems odd because it's like the same dough as that plain donut, and the plain donut was pretty good, right? But it's like those flavors just don't meld very well. So I don't particularly care for them in the blueberry format, and they turned out the best in the chocolate format, which is the original recipe. So I think I'm still on the hunt for the perfect donut.